And so I told him, yeah, I noticed there was a girl, Kyla, and I had to take her out of class. And it was very strange because I have my schedule and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to Miss Dita Loop's class and then I'm going to assist her. And then she says, okay, class, math is over. I walk through the door. Okay, class, math is over. Go back to your desk. And there's one girl who cannot move. And she's like struggling to get up. And then her whole face just turns into tears. And this is not the first time I saw that happen with her. So I believe this happened on Wednesday. Could have happened Wednesday the 16th in the middle of class. This same girl, Kyla, just broke down in tears. And I'm like, okay, girl, you crying. Let's get you out of this environment. Because obviously, if you have a big emotion, you should not be sitting at your desk crying by yourself. To me, that's torture. And that is not good for a child, especially to have them sit alone. If anything, you need to have people in your class comforting you, saying, it's all right, how are you? You need to have some type of person to actually help you deal with your emotions, especially as a child. You can't just cry by yourself and have people walk around you, because that makes it 10 times worse. Your emotional needs need to be met and you need time to process your emotion. And even though I don't want anyone upsetting her, I still know like she needs to get out of class, process her emotions. So as soon as I see her crying, I'm just like, okay, I'll walk you out the door. I don't know why you're crying. I didn't ask her why. She didn't tell me. All I know is Kyla was crying and I took her on a walk and I had her calm down. And as we went on the walk, I did start talking about, hey, do you see the tree? Hey, do you see the leaves on the ground? Hey, do you see there's a flower right here that's yellow? Hey, do you see... Well, I think I talked to her, or I could have just asked her what should she do today. But sometimes I do that with kids. And I know that this happened again. So I want to tell you with the same kid, Kyla, on Friday, I really believe it was the second day of school. She was not used to, I personally thought she wasn't used to walking through the cafeteria. So all of a sudden, she's walking with her teacher and then she starts breaking down crying. And she freezes. And then I'm like, oh, you don't have to freeze. Your table is right here. And then next thing you know, she freezes again and she starts crying. So immediately I take her lunch tray out of her hand and I have her to sit down. And then I pull out a little napkin because the kids are given this tiny little paper thin napkin. And then I start wiping her eyes and I'm just like, hey, it's okay. And I try to like hug her, but I didn't really hug her. I was mainly focused on wiping her tears away. And the teacher was there and she's like, I don't understand why she's crying. And I just told the teacher, I just think she's overwhelmed because it's a big cafeteria. And that's all I said. I think she's overwhelmed. And still, I think she's overwhelmed because it's a big cafeteria. And it can be scary for like a 6-year-old to walk through it. But then I think she could have went through the lunch line and the teacher yelled at her. And because the teacher yelled at her, that's why she felt bad enough to start crying. Because when I was on my walk with Harrison after school, which could have been like Wednesday at 2:40 p.m., and I was in his neighborhood park, which other kids from my school live in the same neighborhood too, and there was like another girl across the street who was like playing outside her house. And so yeah, as I said, Harrison, we were just at the park and then we were on the swings and I was asking him about the situation. And I said, yeah, I saw Aubrey was crying in class. Do you know why? Like, what happened? Because I wasn't there. And Harrison told me, yeah, it was because the teacher yelled at her during class about math. And I'm like, oh, I know. It was because Miss Kyla wasn't following instruction. And she could have just been frozen, not doing anything. And then the teacher is like, I'm going to yell at you to the point you cry. And so I'm thinking Kyla cried twice, once, which was on Friday, and that was the second day of school because she was scared of the cafeteria, which is weird because she didn't do that Thursday. So I think the teacher was with her in the cafeteria and yelled at her. And then I didn't know because I didn't go through the lunch line. And then I also know she yelled at her again, which was because she couldn't follow along with math. And then I also found out, I want to say Thursday. Okay, guys, I might be getting my dates wrong, but that's okay because we're going to sort it out. I'm thinking it could have been this week, like the 17th, but I don't think it was Thursday. It could have been like Tuesday, the 15th then. But all I know is we had a meeting, and then I got a paper file that said Kyla has a disability. And I'm just like, all they put is developmental delay. They didn't get into any specifics. But I'm just like, if you have this kid in your class for a whole week and you never knew in 2 days, even 3 days, that she had ESE, like she was a special kid, she had a disability, and you're just yelling at her to the point she cries. And that is up to the teacher. Like, the teacher's responsibility is to find out this information on her students. And as an assistant, I feel like I should know it as well. And I could also tell the kids who like struggle too. And she definitely was someone who can't sit in her chair and things like that. But I do think you should always accommodate your students, whether their disability is documented or not.